Don't forget to smile. All right, everybody, here we are. We're going to get started in just a moment. So wonderful to be here. I can't wait to get this one started. Okay, what's going on here? It looks like, am I frozen? Oh, okay, there we go. Just every time I think I have figured this out, there's something wrong. Now, where is everybody? Here we are. We're going to get started in just a moment. There it is. So wonderful to be here. I can't wait to get this one started. Okay. Every time I think I figured this out, there's something wrong. Now, where is? Okay, so oh, I need to turn on. Sorry, I'm having two things with audio at one time.
Okay.
I need an assistant. Is there anybody out there? Who
I
wants to
know.
be my technology assistant? I swear, every time I think I figured these things out, and then no, we don't figure them out. So here we are. It is Friday, August 13th, and 2021. I am with the lovely Asli, Rakkas, which is her name on Facebook. She is from Istanbul, and you can see by that lovely background she has, beautiful Istanbul, and currently living in Toronto. And I'm really, really excited. For me, this is the first interview of our Minette Dancers Collective series. And you are the first Turkish dancer that I get to interview. And I'm really, really excited to hear what you have to say and, gain the perspective of a major part of that region, which is Turkey, that I will admit, I know very little about. So I'm excited to learn. And so if you are out there with us, watching along, please feel free to type any questions in the chat, and we are happy to answer them as we go along. So we have a lot to talk about. So welcome, Asli, and I can't wait to hear all about you. So please tell us about you, your dance background, and we will go from there.
Okay, so hi, my name is Asli. I was born and raised in Turkey, Istanbul, and my mom has a Bosnian background. Her grandmother was from Bosnia. Yeah, so that's why she cooks so well, and she's famous with her cooking.
I can imagine.
Yeah, very delicious foods. And my father born in Black Sea, but her family immigrate. There were Turkish people who were living in Greece, and they were immigrated back to Turkey. I don't know so much details about it, but I just know that after the war, they come from Greece to Turkey and settle in the Black Sea. So, for my dance career, it's kind of, I did folklore, like Azerbaijani folklore when I was in primary school. I love Azerbaijani songs and all the costumes, like you float like a princess. Love it.
Yeah, and that's interesting because Azerbaijan is next to Armenia, right?
Yeah.
And so you just happen to study Azerbaijan dance?
Yeah, well, Turks and Azerbaijanis, we are seeing each other like almost like a siblings. We are like a siblings countries. This is what we feel for each other. And funny enough, they are pretty much, I think, only Turkey country that we can actually understand without needing to learn their Turkish version. And so in my primary school, for a reason, there was like they were teaching Azerbaijani folklore as like a extracurricular activity, and I took it. I don't remember too much, but I also always remember the feeling of feeling like a princess and floating. It's so beautiful.
I can imagine. I have seen Azerbaijan dancing. Obviously, I need to brush up on my geography just a little bit. Sorry about that. But
okay. I'm not great at geography either, so.
But you know, it's already fascinating to me because you know we have, I think as Westerners, we like to put things in categories, right? In boxes. And so it's like, okay, well, you're Turkish, so it's Turkish. But you know, and you were telling me just before we started the broadcast about your father's family who came from Greece back to Turkey, and then your last name. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So my maiden last name is Dedaj. It's the Turkish name given to Alexander, I think Alexandropoli. I'm pretty sure I just butchered how it was pronounced. I'm so sorry, guys. So when they moved to Turkey, and the last name law came up, so they took Dedaj as their last name, I guess, to just remember that part of their history. So kind of cool too.
It's such a small world, right? Like the connections, and that's what I love about this series and the Minette dancers group, and talking to people and just learning. There's so much in common. I mean, we all have what's special about our country, but you know, it's so nice to see the connections. So you started as a child doing folk dance from Azerbaijan, and then how did you get to kind of where you are today as a dancer?
So I didn't actually necessarily take any classes when I was back in Turkey, but obviously, like, it was always part of our culture. We always danced in the weddings, and luckily my aunt had a cottage in Sharkey, which is in the Trakya part of the Turkey, which is like northwest part of Turkey, and it has big Romani community. So I was very exposed to the Romani music, Romani people, and Romani dance. So I had to get the chance to explore how the way that they dance and try to mimic. And I remember when I was very young, I was trying to mimic the belly dancers and try to show my aunt. I'm like, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? Like, obviously, probably I didn't, but. And I have a memory of me being a little kid in my cousin's birthday and just put it to Mezdeke album and dance in the living room for everybody for hours. So that was my like first memory of belly dancing without like properly trained. And then I come to Canada to do my master's. And there was this Ukrainian woman who was also doing her master's with me in the same lab. And funny enough, University of Toronto has belly dance as their extra curriculum. They teach belly dance. And we found out about this and we decided, you know what, let's go. That sounds fun. And the teacher that I took class is Joanna Camilleri. And she was my first belly dance teacher. And I decided to, there was only level 1, so I decided to follow her, continue with her own studio. But her studio was a little bit far away from me. So I find another studio was literally walking distance from me.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, so I went there and I literally was there every night. Like I was unlimited. I went every night. I was like there. We were almost kidding that I should just have a bed there and sleep there because like I was there every day.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, so that was my beginning. And dance, unfortunately, things didn't go as nicely as it started. You know, people grow apart, I guess.
Yes.
And sometimes studios are not always there to be your part of your journey all the time. Sometimes you have to go somewhere else.
True.
And I wasn't sure where to go, and I was in a period that I was almost quitting dancing because I thought that I have, like, I guess everybody goes through that I'm not good enough. I will never be good enough. I will never be able to, you know, teach, or I have nothing to give. So I should just like leave. And I was like crying to sleep. It was like a really bad period. But then I have two lovely ladies, Liana and Elena, and they were both part of Yasmina Ramzi's dance company. And I started to talking to them, and I remember Liana, she was like, just email her and ask, just email her. So I contacted Yasmina, and she said, you know, if you are willing to, let's give it a try. And I started with her, take out, you know, everything she wants me to do, take private, take classes, work hard, and now I'm part of the dance company, and we just finished our movie shooting. So that has been an adventure itself.
Oh yeah. Filming
So,
dance is a whole thing of its own, but I can't wait to see the video. And how lucky are you to be so close to Yasmina Ramzi, who is amazing.
I know. And she has been like so supportive of me. And she literally is the reason I start teaching Roman Havasi, Turkish Romani. She was
Really?
like, because I substituted a couple of times for other teachers, and I teach Roman Havasi, and she was like, I have available hours. Do you want to teach? I'm like, sure. And then this is how it started. So if it wasn't for her, I don't think I will ever have a courage to even start to teach. So yeah, she's
That's wonderful. And sometimes, you know, it takes people outside of our culture or our country to inspire us, right? To do those things. So what styles of dance do you do? Because, you know, we assume like you're Turkish, so you must do Turkish style, right? Like
I probably don't do Turkish style. I actually because I learned, well, I took start classes in Toronto, and the place that I first started, they were usually do more American cabaret / Egyptian. Right. And Yasmina Ramzi is very Egyptian. So actually, I was never trained as a Turkish style. And I kind of also find a little interesting because, like, for me, sometimes when I think about it, you know, when I watch Dina, Randa Kamal, or Samara, I feel like they all have their own style.
Yeah.
Daniele did like I couldn't put them in one box. So sometimes it's very hard to, like, when people say Turkish style, Egyptian style, I'm like, what do you exactly mean? I feel like, because like even when I looked at Tanya and Didam on Asana, I feel like they're all so different.
You know, you have such a great point, because I get that a lot too, because, you know, my family is Lebanese, right? My dad's family. And so, I mean, I dance dubki, like, you know, social dancing, and I teach some basic dubki classes. But I don't necessarily follow the Lebanese style of belly dance. I like to watch it. But you're right. I think if we start thinking of the dancers as individuals expressing themselves through dance, rather than this style and that style and the other style, you know.
Because like when in Turkey, like we never said, oh, Didam do Turkish style. We just say Didam just do belly dancing.
Yeah.
Like
Didem is Didem, right? That's
yeah, this is her thing. And Asena has her thing, and Didem and Asena is completely different. And Tanya is way different than all of them. And so that's why it was always weird for me when they say, oh, this person teaches Turkish style, this person teaches a different style. I'm like, okay. So I don't know. Like sometimes I feel like is it really that different, or is it just marketing?
Well, I think we know the answer to that, right?
Oh,
And I do think it's kind of part of the Western frame of mind. Like it's something foreign, so we like Westerners like to put things in categories, right? Like this is this and this belongs to that. And the more I'm doing these interviews and the more dancers from around the Minette region that I'm talking to, the more connections and similarities that we have. But each one of us expressing our own selves through our dance. And that's the beautiful thing. So you're teaching, and say it again because I want to get it correctly. You're teaching the Romani.
Roman havası.
Roma Havası.
Yeah.
Which is,
or is in Western world is more known as Turkish Romani dance.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I want
not the G word.
Not the G word.
No.
We don't use the G word anymore. People, we evolve, we learn, right? And just like there's some other racially charged words that we don't use the G word anymore.
Yeah.
What words should we use in its place?
Roma or Romani? They
Roma.
prefer to use Roma or Romani.
Thank you. So
Roma means people in their language, which is beautiful. Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
I love it. So
yeah, I love it too.
Roma or Romani to describe those people that we used to use the G word for.
Yeah.
Awesome. How does your family feel about you being a belly dancer? This is my favorite question.
I know. My mom hated so much for so long. We really she asked me to quit. She asked me not to put anything on my Facebook. I didn't even have Instagram at the time. She because she was so worried that her friends will saw it and that I will never find a nice boy to marry, because nobody wants to marry to a dancer.
Of course, yeah.
And when I came here, I came to study neuroscience, and I think a couple of people said, oh, you sent her to become her to do her PhD, but she becoming dancer. I can do both, thank you, and I did. So.
And that's so wonderful, because so many of us are educated professional women, and we're fighting against that old fashioned belief that if you're a dancer you're going down a certain path, and I'm so glad that you can do both. You can be a neuroscientist and you can be a belly dancer. That's awesome.
Yeah. So and I end up not being a scientist, but I still work in the research institute. And my manager knows that I'm belly dancing, and he was like, "That's cool." Everybody knows at work. It's not something that I feel like I have to hide, or I didn't need to be shy about it. But there was a time that my mom we literally hang up on each other on Skype because conversation. I'm like, I'm quitting. This is something that it's great. This is something that I do for myself. It makes me happy. I'm not doing for anybody else. And I don't want to live my life according to what other people think. My life. And if you don't want to see it, you don't have to follow me on Facebook or Instagram, so you won't see it.
Right. How does she still feel that way? I mean, are there still hard feelings, or has she?
So when they come to here with my father for my wedding. I did find a nice guy, get married. So when they were here, they start meeting my friends, and literally all my friends are dancers. Like I don't, they're all dancers. So I think that kind of also changed their mind a little bit, because they met all these wonderful people, and they were all, like you said, they were all educated. They all had jobs, and they all like university graduated and things like that. So I think they changed a little bit their mind. But I think when they changed their mind, it was still kind of like, oh, I guess here is a little bit different than how it is back home. I'm like, I'm not so sure it's that different, but okay. And but there was a period she still didn't like my dance videos, dance pictures, until I started dancing with Yasmin-Asli. There was one video where we danced in Dance of Ontario. That was one of the first videos she actually liked.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I think she felt also more comfortable liking my videos when I did the Turkish Romani, because I think that's popular. But now I think she's getting more comfortable.
And does she feel, is she okay with you teaching the Turkish Romani or the Romani Havasi? Okay, that's good, because it's folklore, and we can usually get away with folklore, right?
Folklore is kind of, because she, like every Turkish person, she loves Turkish Romani, like they all do. So she calls me her crazy girl. So.
Well, normal people are boring, so
yeah,
what do you need it, right?
Yeah.
Would you dance? I mean, I don't know how often you go back home to Turkey. If you had the opportunity to dance there, would you?
Like in a restaurant or the current wedding?
Yeah.
I don't know. I never think about that. It might be a little bit hard, because like when I go there, so even like for going to dance festivals, I kind of have to try to ease my wording.
Yeah.
Because I definitely, when I go to Turkey, I want to take classes with Reyhan Tuzsuz. She's the best Romani teacher.
Oh, really?
If you guys go to Turkey, you have to find her and learn from her. She's really good. And so I have to
again, so that we can
Reyhan Tuzsuz.
Reyhan Tuzsuz. Okay, I have heard of her.
Yeah,
does she have social media that we can find her?
Yeah, let me. I think it's she has Instagram, I think, which is Reyhan Romani. Hold on.
Thank God for social media, right, everybody? So if you really want to really learn Turkish Romani, that we call it here, from the real thing, you can study with Asli, or you can study with Reyhan.
Reyhan Roman. Her Instagram is Reyhan Roman Dance. Dance with S, like she write it the way that we write in Turkish.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And we can put it in the comments also if anybody's interested.
Yeah.
Because
and anybody can DM me, and I will always copy the link.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to support the real thing, right? Like if we have it, we have to support it. So
yeah,
that's wonderful. I was going to ask you something and it slipped out of my mind. How do you feel, or tell me about, you're becoming a member of the Minette Dancers Collective. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, so I think it's interesting, because especially when I'm here in Toronto, in my local community, I feel like I was the only one Minette person was in the dance community. So it's kind of nice to see other dancers, and I didn't even know besides Didam if there was any Turkish dancers out there until this COVID happened, and I went to the Instagram, and then I was like, oh look, all these dancers all around the world, and they're all Turkish. It was like amazing. So I got to interact with Serkan. We actually did fundraising with him for the Izmir earthquake.
Oh,
And yeah, so and I met Sreya, she's part of the Minette as well. So just even like meeting other Turkish dancers, that was like exciting. And then meeting other Minette dancers. Like I didn't even know any Armenian dancers. Now I know, which is very exciting. So
yeah.
it's really like opens your horizon. So
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because it honestly, when I started this group, because also growing up, you know, as a dancer of whatever, of the culture, I didn't know many other dancers who are also living here that, you know, are of Minette heritage. And anytime I'd meet somebody like, oh my God, there's another one of us, right? Like,
yeah.
and then I thought, let's find a way to connect with each other. And it really was more of like, just kind of like, hey, let's meet other dancers, you know. And then I have learned so much. We've met so many great people, Armenians and Turks, and just people from all around the Minette region sharing their perspectives and their love of dance. And it's so heartwarming. I
Yeah.
really am so happy. And you know, things are evolving. We're figuring things out as we go along. But
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you and I have got a chance to connect
I know.
and do this. And I'm loving following you on Instagram, and
Thank you.
you're doing some great things. I just saw a video of you teaching the Romani Habasi.
Yeah.
You did a little video, right?
Yeah, is because I'm doing this social shimmy organized by Kelly Sahar, and the prompt today was the bonus prompt, your favorite folkloric dance, which is for me is the Roman Havasi by far. Like that's my favorite.
Shout out
So
to Katie Sahar and the social shimmy.
yay.
So I'm glad that you're a part of that, because we love getting to know more about you. What's your goal as a dancer and an artist? Have you thought about where you want to go from here?
So it's kind of interesting because I think, especially when I started, I never even think that it's gonna go this far. It was just like, oh hey, there's the belly dance class. Let's do this for fun. I guess it's kind of start for everybody the similar way.
And then
And
yeah,
and then you're like sucked in, and it's literally your life. Like I think I literally buy more costume than I buy daily clothing. I didn't even think about it. Like, oh.
Yeah, that's the thing. People are like, oh, you must make a great living as a dancer. No.
It was so funny when I was doing my master. My scientist friends said, "Oh, you should stick with the dance. You will make more money because scientists are not making money." And the dancers were saying different things. I'm like, yeah, none of them do make money.
Right.
So yeah, both professions, yeah, no money there. So that was funny. But yeah, I was. So I guess like when I first started, I had like no idea or no per se goals. So I'm in process of trying to figure out where I'm fitting and what can I offer. And I didn't even have an Instagram before COVID, to be honest. It's something that COVID has forced me because I was bored out of my mind. And then that opened all these doors for me. I meet so many other dancers from all over around the world, and I started talking to them and connecting with them. And so funny enough, when I started sharing my Turkish Romani dance, I end up meeting these amazing Romani people, mostly Italian Romanis. I end up in their pages for some reason, which I'm not complaining, they're amazing. So that's also very great experience. I did very good collaborations with them too. I'm very excited. I did an interview with one of them that I'm going to share on my Instagram soon, probably next Sunday. So check it out with Ivanka. Her Instagram is Roma-dancer. So you guys should follow her. She's amazing Roma dancer. She does different Roma dance styles. Yeah. And she's a Romani activist too. So she has different podcasts, and I was very privileged to interview her. She was my first person to interview. So I'm very excited about sharing that with you guys. And I did one of the things that make me very happy is during my dance journey, I found out how much Romani people suffered during Holocaust that I didn't know about it. Which is kind of very sad, that part kind of like skipped. And I watched this amazing documentary called People Uncounted. Referring, yeah. So I did, I always wanted to do a kind of screening, and I reached out to the director, he's Canadian as well, and he gave me the permission. So I did a screening for that. And I was very excited about that. So that, you know, even one person knows that they suffer as well, it makes me, I'm glad, like.
Sorry, you did the screening already? Did I miss it?
Yes, I did.
Can we do another one? Because
I'm trying. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I think he will be open to it, and I'm hoping to do it again.
Please send me a direct message so that I don't miss it. Because you know stuff passes through on social media, and I want to watch it, but I also want to get the perspective of the people who know. You know what I mean? Like I could watch it by myself in my house, but I would really love to have that conversation.
It is a very well done documentary, but bring tissues because it's very heavy. Like it's, I watch it 3 times. Every time I cry, it's very raw. It's very like no sponsor. Everything is there as it should be.
Yes. So it's called People Uncounted. Do you know
Sorry?
What the name? Did I get the name right?
People Uncounted.
Okay, so this again, translation for you folks out there, is a documentary about those people that we don't use the G word for anymore, and it's about their plight. So People Uncounted, go find it and learn.
Yeah, and it is good. I think every dancer, especially if you guys are doing any Romani dance, including flamenco, yeah, I don't know why flamenco is considered not Romani dance, but it is. You guys definitely should watch it because it's talked about all the discrimination that they face throughout the history. And it does also talks about the G word and why that shouldn't be used. And obviously every Romani people have different opinion about that. That's also mentioned. But mainly focus end up being the Romani genocide during World War II by Nazi Germany.
Interesting.
So, yeah. And it's pretty sad when you think about it, even like, because I feel like for the Romani people, the discrimination and genocide continue even after the war.
I would imagine.
Literally, they were forced to continue to live in the camps because they were nowhere to go. Like that must be horrifying that you have to still stay in a place that you have been tortured. I cannot even imagine. So that's why I think it's very important documentary. That's why I really wanted to do movie screening, and I want to do it again as long as the director give me the permission. I'm willing to do it, and he's very nice. Like he really wants more people to watch it, So his name is Aaron Yeager. So shout out to him as well.
Wow. Let's talk later and try to plan something. I'd be happy to like help make something happen because it's so important. It's like,
Yeah, it is.
we really need to learn more. And you know, you made me realize too right now how many dancers in our community end up being like cultural ambassadors. Do you know what I mean? It's not just
Yeah.
about the dancing, and the movement is super important, but we end up teaching about the culture and really sharing the knowledge that you wouldn't otherwise get. So
Yeah. And I owe all that to Romani people that I encountered during my journey, because they taught me a lot. When I do Turkish Romani, even though I'm Turkish, I still feel like I'm a guest in that art form because I don't have a Romani heritage.
Oh.
So even though when we talk about Turkish folklore in Turkey, we will count Turkish Romani as one of the Turkish folklore dance styles. But again, I don't have a Romani heritage, so I still feel somewhat like a gas in that dance form, in that culture. So I'm trying to be respectful. I try to listen and learn, and almost like I'm trying to act in a way that I wish that others acted when they were performing our cultural dance. So I'm trying to do that. So I learned, like I did the same mistake of using G word when I first started. I learned that that's not okay. So I changed the way that I structure my dance or how I name it. And it's always a like learning process. So I'm trying to be open-minded and listen and learn and present the way that they want to be presented. That's very important for me.
Yeah, that's all we can do, right? When we know better, we do better.
Exactly.
And so it's a process of being open-minded, as you said, and learning, you know.
Yeah.
It must feel really great to be accepted by the Roma people.
Yeah. I actually find a couple of Romani people that was, are you Romani? I'm like, no, but thank you.
Yeah.
You would think that the way it's like, because it's kind of give you the confirmation that what you're doing is right. Like you do a proper job of presenting them. So it's very, I was like very honored when they confused me with being Romani, but so and they are very, and I had also much biases before I met them. By even living in, because I had this image of Romani people being not very educated, always poor. Even in Turkey, we had this image, and then I meet all these Romani people who are like super educated. They speak multiple languages, like they do amazing jobs, and they're like no different than any of us. Like, so I was like, I learned so much, and I also learned about my biases and my privileges. So I think that's something that helped me to move to Toronto, because in Turkey I have a privilege. I'm Muslim and I have a Turkish ethnicity, so that's my privilege living in Turkey. So my Turkey experience may not be the same as somebody from different ethnical background, like Romani or Kurdish. So that's when I moved to Toronto and become an immigrant, and also meeting different ethnic background people, give you a completely different perspective. You start understanding better almost what they were trying to tell you, that all your privileges and biases is kind of like prevent you to hear, because you have been all this information sent to you that, oh, they are wrong kind of thing, if it makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And I remember there was one time, so full of Turkish people from UFD were talking, and one of them, he's Kurdish, and I cannot remember what was the conversation. It started with the history, and then went to the politics, and of course it gets heated. And somebody said something that really triggered our Kurdish friend, and he started yelling, and he was very angry. And of course, my bassism started boil up right away, and I was like, "Why he's angry?" And then I was like, "Why is he angry?" So I was like, "Oh, my experience was not the same as his experience." So that was very eye-opening moment, to be honest. So that's why I try to listen others' experience and try to acknowledge the fact that their experience probably is different. It doesn't mean that because I didn't go through that experience doesn't mean that it wasn't true.
Absolutely. And you know, what a blessing it is to have that opportunity to learn, right? To put yourself in someone else's shoes and really see things from their perspective. Do you find any clash with other Turkish people in this sort of subject?
I guess it depends to which, because in every country there's people who just blindly believe what the government told them. Excuse me. And there's people who try to listen. So it depends who you are talking to. Sometimes it can be a heated subject. Because also my husband is Jewish. So he has Israel family. And yeah. And so some of his family is nice. So like I don't have any problem.
Yeah, I would imagine. Otherwise, you wouldn't have married him, right?
But I was exposed to a couple of his friends, and I'm like, okay. So that was also sometimes like it's so hard to not open your mouth, but sometimes it's because there's some point. There's people that you can change their mind and you can have a proper conversation. And unfortunately, there's people, they will never change their mind, even you show to their face all the arguments, all the proof, they will just not change their mind.
Right.
And sometimes it's just almost pointless to waste your energy to try to convince somebody's mind that they will never change. That's another thing that I learned.
And yeah, that's so true.
Sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't want to see you guys ever again. Just be in your corner.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to just let it go. And
yeah, that's another thing that I learned, that unfortunately sometimes people just don't want to see it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's like if people are willing to kind of listen and have, open their mind, but there's just some people that will never, no matter what you do.
Yeah, no.
So wow, how did this is like not about dancing, but how did marrying a Jewish man go over with the family?
It's funny because my mom, like nobody from my family ever say anything. Like that wasn't even, nobody questioned. Nobody said, "Oh, is he gonna convert?" Because my husband is atheist; he doesn't even believe. So, and my parents already knew that. Like I'm like, and I because he was atheist, he never expect me. Like he didn't care. So like for neither of us, there was no discussion of one should convert to another or anything. So that wasn't surprisingly that wasn't even cross my mom's mind. But I think because my mom had Jewish friends, but my parents had a Jewish friend because we have a Jewish community. So I think they were like very used to having Jewish people around. And my mom always thinks that the Jewish culture, Turkish culture, they are very similar. So she said that they have similar family values. So for that, like, so yeah, that was interesting. I know that some people have a very hard time, like the religion wasn't even in discussion or in the table or anything.
I mean, we really can all get along. I mean, if we try, then it is possible. And I think you're a very beautiful example of that. I want to make sure to share with you some of the things that are being said in the chat on YouTube. So Lori says that she feels inspired listening to this conversation.
Aww.
And about both of our collaborations with filmmakers, historians, and so much more. And people are saying they want to see the film, the People Uncounted film. So I think we're going to make it happen, everybody.
Yeah, let's do that.
Film. And you know, I'm going to tell you a funny story. Because you mentioned you're from the Black Sea area, right? And so here's where the differences come in, right? Like I've been listening to Arabic music my whole life. And you know, through that, some Persian music, some Turkish music, I know it when I hear it, right? But I don't know Turkish music as well as I know Arabic music. So many years ago, I was in a dance company with Sahra Saida. All you guys out there know Sahra Saida. We had a dance company and we would do dances from all around the Middle East, right? And we have a Turkish friend here in Southern California named Vedat. Shout out to Vedat out there. He's an amazing musician and dancer as well. So we talked to him and he said, you know, I'll teach you guys a Black Sea dance, right? So, okay, cool. And, you know, I danced Dubki, which is also a jumping and stomping kind of a dance. And so naturally, as we're learning this dance, I sort of became like, you know, second to him, right? But this music, I swear, it was so beautiful, but I couldn't figure out where the beginning or where is the end of the music. Like I couldn't figure it out because it's very kind of repetitive, right?
Yeah.
And so he taught us the dance, we would practice it, and now he wanted it. He said, okay, you guys do it and I'll watch you. I'm like, okay, so we're there, we're holding hands, you know, we're stomping to the beat and we're moving our arms. And he's like, okay, Roxanne, you know, like get it going. And I'm like, okay, I don't know when to start the movement, right? You know, and he's like, start on the one. And I'm like, where is the one? I don't know where the one is. Just go. Okay, so then we started dancing. So I really could feel in that moment what, you know, a non-Minette dancers who come to our dance form who haven't been raised with the music, like it's a completely different music that you don't know how to process it. And we just feel like, oh, come on, just jump in and just listen. It's easy, right? Because we've been doing it all our lives. And yeah, that was a very humbling experience for me.
I realized that a lot when I start teaching Roman Havası because it's 9/8 and 9/8 is actually very common in Turkish music, even though 9/8 is very almost like being seen as equal to Roman Havası. I mean, in Turkey, when you say 9/8, people would first think about Romani music.
Okay.
But actually, it's very common. So my ears is so used to hear 9/8, but it's so difficult for people who never heard about it to count the beats and try to find and like, oh my God, like how am I gonna explain this? Because it's so constant, natural to you.
Yeah.
And then you try to explain, I'm like, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, like where's mom?
And forget about playing finger cymbals to 9/8. Like, oh my God. I
I can't
respect
play
anyone
zills.
who can do
No.
it. I mean,
That was my worst props. Like I hate zills. I'm sorry, guys.
if you guys haven't heard any 9/8 rhythms out there, go to YouTube or something and search a 9/8 because it's beautiful to listen to, but it is difficult.
And I highly recommend if you guys want to watch a real Roman dance, to just Roman Dune, Dugun. It means Roman wedding.
Ah,
And specifically watch older ladies dancing.
yes.
There's something about older ladies dancing that is just, oh my God, so joyful, so pure, so much fun. It's just,
Yes.
love
And
it.
watch people social dancing. It's one of the biggest things I do when I take my students to like an Arabic club or a festival, or not really weddings, but because we're not going to just crash someone's wedding, but like watch people just social dancing, and you get so much from that. Like it's really an important tool in understanding the dance from within the culture.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that name from you, and we'll put it in the chat. I want to check it out because I cannot wait to watch little old Turkish ladies dancing.
Yeah, like
That's
it's they will be like, usually they have their weddings and outdoors, and you'll see all these little girls already dancing and everybody dancing with each other. They will have this big loud DJ playing music. It's so much fun.
well, you know what I'll be doing after this is over is watching all those videos. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
We're so fortunate these days to be able to experience the culture and the dance and the music on video. It's really a blessing. What do you want people to know about you, or as a dancer, understand about you on a deep level?
Oh, wow. That's a big question.
Surprise.
That I'm, even though I teach, I am still student. Like I feel like we all are student and is still learning. And if I say something and then change it, it's not like I'm changing my mind, because I'm just learning and try to do better. So I do try to do better. And I love this art form, and I want to be good ally to Romani people, and I want to present the dance in proper way that they want to be presented. And I do want more interest in Turkey and Turkish culture, because I feel like, especially in the Western belly dance environment, I don't think people know too much about Turkish culture or Turkish music or Turkish dances, because there's more than Roman havas in Turkish dance. Like we have 7 different regions, 7 different, even more than that, folkloric dances.
Yes.
So that's one of my future plans. I met a Turkish lady here in Toronto. She used to be choreographer for Anatolia Fire. I don't know if you guys ever heard it.
No.
It was a big they did a big production of all these different Turkish folkloric dance styles, and they put it on a stage. And she was one of the choreographer.
Ooh.
So she's in Turkey. So I wanna start taking classes with her, and I wanna learn other folkloric dances from Turkey, and hopefully I can start presenting them when I start learning them, so that. And I also want to learn more about my folkloric dances, but I also want to present it and hopefully get some interest to my lovely, beautiful culture.
Yes, because that's a misconception. It's like we know our culture and we experience it from our own experience, but we don't know everything about everything
Yeah.
in that particular country. And this, you reminded me of something I was going to ask you earlier. You mentioned the Mazdeki. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Mezdeke.
Mazdeke. We know them here as like the Mazdeke dancers. Like there's a style, a certain kind of costume and certain kind of movements. Like
Oh, okay. I want to talk about this because I had this conversation so many times with so many people. Just so frustrating because every time the face cover in the dance comes up, they are always being referred to. So there was a reason why they choose to cover their face, because they didn't want to be recognized on the street. That was the only reason they wore face covering. They weren't trying to be any cultural representation or anything. They just wanted to hide their face. It was just as simple as that. So, but I don't know, some people take it such a big thing and they have in all this discussions. They were not trying to mimic anything or portray any character. They just wanted to not be recognized and not be bothered when they were living their own life. So that was the only reason they actually covered their face. So that's might be also a good lesson for all of us to not take to like not to read too much into things. Sometimes, like, I think people overanalyze things.
Yeah.
And the reason is just simple as like they didn't want to be recognized. That was why they were it, and that was it.
Yeah. Or I think like even the other side of that is that people watch a video, right? And they're like, oh, I saw those Turkish ladies do it in the video, so it must be okay. And they don't realize the cultural significance, right? So as a Turkish woman, what would you like to say to the dancers out there about wearing a face covering? You have anything you want to say? I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I feel like we're talking to someone from the source. It's interesting to hear what you have to say.
So I have a difficult relationship when it comes to hijab and face covering. Because when you grow up in Turkey, especially grow up in a liberal family, you always have this fear of Sharia coming and Sharia taking over, and being forced to wear hijab and face covering is always when as a woman, something that you always fear. And I grew up with this fear. So for me, seeing hijab or face covering, unfortunately, it's been bringing all that memory. So it's made me personally uncomfortable, but that again, just my personal feeling. I cannot even, like, sometimes they do this veil trick where they only show the eye. Like, I refuse to learn that trick because just, yeah, I was like, no. But again, that's just my personal feelings, and another Minette dancer may have completely different opinion and feelings about it. So I don't know what to say. Like, I don't think I can say I'll never do it. But I guess maybe never do it if you don't know what is the reference behind it, what is the cultural reference behind it, and how it might be perceived from different countries within the Minette region. Because it might be okay for one Minette country, may not be acceptable at all to another Minette culture. I remember we were having this book club and somebody said, oh, we always put Turkish and Arabic people in the same basket, but you guys are not the same. I'm like, yeah, we are actually different ethnic background and culture. We have similarities.
Yeah.
We share lots of things in common, but we are actually two different cultures, and our reactions can be completely different. So that's something also people need to learn and keep in mind.
And even within those countries, there are different religions. There are different amounts of conservatism and liberalism. And, people take those things very differently. Like, I'm a Christian Arab. We similarly, wearing face veils and doing the whole veil trick thing is hard to watch. It's offensive. And we should have a panel discussion about this topic, get dancers from all different backgrounds to discuss, because I don't know, my guess is that not many dancers of Minette heritage will say, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it might be interesting to find out if they will be okay.
Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm willing to accept that I could totally be wrong. Yeah. But my gut tells me I'm probably not wrong. Now, disclaimer, everybody, if you're doing folkloric styles and you're wearing the traditional costume, and the traditional costume has a face veil or, whatever, that's different. Because I've done that, but you're representing a culture and a people. You're not belly dancing and like just, oh, this is cute. And especially now, it's driving me crazy now because with everyone wearing masks for COVID, everyone's like, oh, now I get to wear my mask and decorate it when I'm belly dancing. Sorry, everybody. I'm sure I just made a lot of enemies right now, but that's okay. At least you know.
I actually part of my I share stories, and part of my social media I kind of actually emphasize this. I share a story as it was about the female genitalia mutilation. And there was a TikTok video the girl did, and where she mentioned that, like, in Islam, actually, it's not an Islamic practice. So people need to be really careful and be aware of that. There's a difference between cultural traditions or cultural practices and religious practices, and they are not equal to each other. So just
very well
keep in mind.
Very well said. You might be seeing my cat walking through right now. Sorry, not right now, baby. Okay. What do you want to tell us about that I haven't asked you? Is there anything we haven't covered?
Oh, so well, we talked before, but we were just finished a very exciting dance movie project with Yasmina. So we are very exciting, and she's hoping to put them in a film festival. I'm so excited where that's gonna go, and it was like a very different experience and an adventure, and it was a very big learning experience because it was just like every day goes, you learn something and you change. It's like constantly changing. So stay tuned about that. It's Al Kamar. So hopefully it will show up in festivals. So you guys can watch through festivals. And
I'm dying to see it. I love Yasmina's work, and I can't wait to see what you guys do.
Like, I'm so honored to be with that dance company, because I do remember when I was still baby belly dancer, she had this stage production, I think it was Sawa, and everybody's told me, oh, you have to watch Yasmina's productions. They're like amazing. If you want to dance, like, you have to watch her productions. And I went without knowing anybody properly. And I remember sitting on my seat and I see all this theater full of people. It was last day, it was still packed. And it wasn't only like, Middle Eastern people, it was just everybody from different culture. And then the stage opened and these beautiful dancers. And because I never imagined also belly dance on the stage before. It was something so interesting to me to see. And then being part of it, it's like dream come true, to be honest. So I'm very excited about that.
That's
And
wonderful.
I have another things coming up. So I don't know, you guys know, is Ariana. She's a dancer from Hawaii.
Mhm.
And we did interview each other. So because I have a hip dysplasia, so I was talking about my journey with
Oh,
somebody who had a hip dysplasia. And she was talking about how after post-pregnancy, how that affected, because she has a muscle separation, and how that impacted her. And so we decided to make this interview series about diversity and inclusivity in our dance community. So we will start interviewing people who has different physical limitations and how that impacted their dance journey, and so that we can learn more about it and hopefully be more inclusive. Because that's another thing that's kind of annoyed me a lot as somebody who has a physical limitations, that in dance classes, usually we assume that everybody has able bodies, and that's not the case. And not every disability is visible to your eye. And because they are not visible to your eye, doesn't mean that they are not there. I had a very bad experience. For example, for me with the hip dysplasia, I cannot do too many repetitive hip movements. So for instance, to practice dake is very painful to me. It's constantly the same movement over and over again. And I can, when that ballet things that they show you to teach you the pointy toe, I cannot put my legs back without moving my hip because my legs are not same size. I have a leg discrepancy. So I was trying to, and this teacher was pointing out, like, you cannot move your hip. I'm not, I have to, because I cannot do the other way. Like, I'm physically not able to do what you're asking me to do.
Yeah.
So, and I when I wanted to have a break, I have been told to not have excuses.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So I don't want anybody else go through the same experience. And I feel like this needs to be talked about in our community, because when we say diversity and body positivity, so for some weird reason we are only focusing about also like body size and body shape, and body positivity includes so many more things. And we are hoping with these interviews that we can bring you guys all different people with different bodies and abilities that continue dancing, and hopefully their journey and their sharing their journey will bring more awareness, especially for teachers, because
absolutely, this is a great thing that you're doing, and I can't wait to, because I don't really know very much about hip dysplasia, and I think that this conversation about what a person's physical ability and that inclusivity is such an important topic. So this will be happening on your Instagram, or where can we
Yeah,
find?
we're gonna do Instagram live, and we're gonna go Instagram live. We didn't announce it yet, but August 24th. And we are so excited to have Shahrazad as our first guest. Yeah.
That'll be wonderful.
Yeah, because very funny enough, when we both interview each other, we both mentioned Shahrazad and how positively she impacted our dance journey, because she makes us both feel included. The way that she tell us how we can change stuff to to make it work for our own body. And I think it's really, really important to have teachers that can work with your body, or even they don't know, they can try to help you or find somebody that can help you with that. I think it's extremely important skills for teachers, I think.
Okay, teachers out there, is everybody listening? Inclusivity, we're complaining about low number of students in your class, right? Body sizes, abilities and disabilities, you know, things that we need to consider. Man, I sound like I'm preaching, but you know, I'm just really supporting what you're talking about because I think it's really important as well.
Yeah.
This has been fascinating. We've talked about a lot of important things in this interview.
Yeah.
Inclusivity, right? Like, I mean, cultural sensitivity, so much. And it's been really fascinating. And, you know, I hope that we are going to continue to collaborate. And I really am looking forward to some of these things that we talked about, the movie and the dance stuff that you're doing. I really am looking forward to that. And I hope that we will be little dancing grandmas together someday in the very, very far off future, tearing up the dance floor when we're old ladies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Let me just check the chat out here. You guys are so awesome. And yeah, someone said that they have a friend that just had surgery for hip dysplasia. Thank you. Lori also loves the topics, dancer wellness and longevity and self-compassion. So important. We're going to wrap it up now because it's over an hour. We talked about a lot. But I don't think this is going to be our last conversation.
I'm hoping so too.
So there's still so much, you know, so much happening and so much more to talk about. And it's really been such a pleasure to get to know you better and to, you know, to share this experience with you. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all out there. I'm going to just, you know, ask you again to continue to support the project. You know, we're bringing the perspective of dancers of the culture to share with you so that you can learn and understand a little bit better. And we appreciate the support. Please like and share because these viral videos of, you know, ridiculous things get millions of views. And like, you know, we could use some of those views. So if you don't mind, not only liking and maybe commenting on the video, but sharing it on your social media, it would be much appreciated. We are sharing our lives and our experience with you for free. And all we ask is to spread the word. So thank you all for your support out there. And some of you have been to every single interview. We appreciate it. And whoever's out there watching the recording of this, we appreciate your support. Yes. And we send you lots of Minette love. Right? So we're gonna say goodnight. I'm gonna stop the broadcast and thank you all again from the bottom of our hearts. And we look forward to seeing you at the next one. So we'll have another one next week. Keep an eye out on my social media to see who's next.
I'm so excited.
Thank you, Asli. And
Thank you
for bringing the Turkish perspective to us tonight. I really appreciate it. Thanks everybody. See you soon.
Bye.
Wait. I'm pressing the wrong buttons again, everybody. Okay, here we go. No, I keep forgetting how to do it. Stop recording.
I think we are still live though.
I know. People know me. They know I'm just gonna